Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
In Los Angeles, California, you know what I have to tell you? Someone commented on our video yesterday and they said Eddie's getting more like Cliff Richard every day, and I can't unsee it.
Cliff Richard. I mean, first I was a dental hygienist. Now
That's not my words, Cliff Richard. Someone else commented it. Eddie, just look at that backdrop. Have you ever been involved in an event like this?
No, I mean, look. I mean, firstly, let's just take a moment to realise how blessed we are, right? I mean, life is good, you know, and I think sometimes we spend a lot of the time walking around looking at our phones instead of just realising how great life is. Look at that, you know? And honoured to be a part of it. Can't wait for it. We've got a show tonight. You know, a little bit nervous because we've got a couple of our, you know, undefeated guys in big fights, and it's a bit of a weird environment, isn't it? So, like, you've got to go out and perform. Show's building up nicely. Tickets are moving fast. Hype's through the roof. Digital numbers are fantastic. Life is good, and can't wait for a massive show this Saturday as the run on DAZN and the run with Riyadh season continues.
I want to start with the beef in the hotel with Jared Anderson. Well, his team, it wasn't him, it was more Jarrell Miller. I spoke to Jarrell Miller about it today, and he seems really fired up. He seems like that's lit a little spark in him. Do you think that's a good thing for Jarrell Miller?
I do, because like he's quite friendly with Andy Ruiz. Do you know what I mean? Like, they want to beat the shit out of each other, but they actually quite like each other. And I think, you know, the Jared Anderson stuff's interesting because those two have got beef, and sometimes you need a little bit of a trigger, you know, to get yourself switched on. So Jarrell's always up for it. He's always got a lot to say. He's got a big fight for his career on Saturday night against Andy Ruiz, and Jared Anderson's got a massive fight for his career on Saturday night. I think they're two brilliant heavyweight fights.
Talk to me a little bit about Terence Crawford. I seen you had a game of darts with him. How did it go, Eddie?
I don't want to talk about it, mate, to be honest with you.
Nah, come on, you have to give us the scoop. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm imagining that you got beat.
I shouldn't really tell you before the actual.
This won't go out till tomorrow.
Okay. I fucking lost, to be honest with you. And I'm absolutely disgusted for myself, for my country, for the PDC. You know, really the home of darts, the UK. We lost to some geezer from Omaha. He come out, he's like, what is it? What is it? What? Yeah. He's like, tell me a number to hit. I'm like, mate, it's 301, we finish on a double. What? I'm like, and I lost. He was actually pretty good. Like, I said, when you get to the double, I was a bit behind. I went, you'll take ages anyway. Second dart, straight in the double.
What is it about you and losing recently? I mean, you lose the 5v5, you lose this.
I'll be honest with you, COLM. I was actually asking myself the same question. Because in my mind, I said this to Frank Smith, I've felt for a long time that I would make a great Prime Minister, right?
Is this you going?
Right? And I'm quite deluded, right? But I feel like in life, you need to be a little bit deluded. And one of the reasons I've been so successful and we've pushed the boundaries so hard is because I'm quite deluded. Like, I feel like if you're not deluded, what is there to think about in terms of your potential? So I've always felt that for a long time I would make a great Prime Minister, and I was thinking about running for MP, especially with the state of our country at the moment. And I was in the car with Frank Smith and Sean Palmer the other day, and they said to me, I think you should run for Prime Minister, you know. And they actually weren't joking. And I was like, do you know what? I've been thinking about this for years. And also in my head, I think I'll end up being an Oscar-winning actor. And I think I could actually have a recording contract as well, because I can really sing. Now, what I'm getting at is, I think I'm really good at darts, but I'm actually shit at darts, right? But the worst thing is that when I had the beef with Terence Crawford, he said, there's nothing that you're better than me at other than talking, right? And the only thing I could come up with that I might potentially beat him with is darts. And I fucking lost at darts. And it made me feel quite pathetic. You know, so much so that someone said, oh, Eddie's only better than you at talking. And he went, well, actually, I'm not even sure about that. I was like, mate, that's the only thing I know I'm best at. So
rewind a little bit though. What's this Prime Minister talk? And are you actually deadly serious that you would run for Prime Minister?
No. Oh yeah, I don't know. I just feel like,
look down that camera and tell the people what you would change right now. Come on, Edward, on the spot.
It's a little bit, you know, I just look at the people running our country. I used to think, not now because he's getting on a bit and he's a little bit out there, but I used to think my dad would have been a fantastic Prime Minister. Like, he's a numerical genius. Like, he understands the people. Like, he's a working class man. I mean, he's like, and as you go through life and start thinking about other challenges, obviously I'm not putting it out there that I'm going to run for Prime Minister, but when I look at the state of our country and the problems that we have, I look at the people that are running our country, and I think, like, with all due respect, and I don't mean to be rude, but when I look at Rishi Sunak, and I know he's not, you know, leader of the Conservative Party man. I know he's not Prime Minister, but like, how do you expect someone like that to actually deal with the problems within our country, particularly the problems that are in everybody's everyday life on the streets, really? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I don't want to go any further before I make an idiot out of myself, but in my mind, I don't know, I would like to make a difference, and I feel that maybe I could, not as Prime Minister, but I even look at where I'm from, and I feel like I don't want to see it go down the pan. We had this conversation yesterday, I don't think it was with you or it was someone, and I was just saying, like, I don't really want my kids to grow up in the country at the moment, if I'm honest, and I really don't want to leave England because I love England, and it's like, of all the places I go around the world, that's home. And I don't want to have home anywhere else, if I'm honest. I see a lot of people moving, and I'd like to do everything I can to stay, but at the moment, it's not really making me want to stay. And I don't want to see our country go down the pan, and I don't want to see the lives and independence of our children threatened or jeopardised to the point where they can't live a normal life and chase dreams, you know? And I worry about my own kids now going out like every day, and I don't think that's a nice position for a parent to be in. So if I could ever help, you just get to a stage with your work life where you've kind of done a lot and maybe you're looking for another challenge. So don't caption this Hearn for Prime Minister. But
You know it already is.
But I don't know. I just, you know, but maybe, you know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and maybe it's a problem that I can't help with. But I've got a pretty good understanding. Like, I'd like to think that, you know, although I came from a lucky family, if you want, that I do have a working class mentality, and I do understand people's minds and mentality and the problems out there with young people in the community and the problems they're facing as well. And, you know, like you look now at Southport and people rioting, and that's not the answer, really. But the problem is, people have had enough. Do you know what I mean? The answer, especially in a community like that, with what they've been through in the last 48, 72 hours, the last thing people need to go through in that community right now is riots and things getting set on fire and people getting injured, and like, but the problem is spilling out of control where people have had enough. And my worry is that when are they going to act? Because they're so useless, these people. They just wait, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And what you saw in Southport will happen next week. And then you look online, and I don't know if you saw the thing in Southend, and there's kids running around with machetes chasing each other down. Where my kids, Peter Pan's playground's there. Our kids go there all the time. What the fuck's going on in Southend? Things have got so far out of control. They've got to act now. Not, oh, we're having a meeting. You know, we're having a meeting in October to look at this. No, you have an emergency meeting now, and you make immediate changes. But anyway, one for another day.
Right, I've another couple of questions for you before I let go. I spoke to Ben SHALOM today. He said that Chris Eubank wasn't used as a pawn in those negotiations with Canelo. He said that they were the ones that pulled out towards the end because they were taking too long and they needed the plan for Chris Eubank Jr. They said he'll be out at the end of September, and it's likely a decent enough opponent with a view to fighting Canelo next. Just your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, you know, it takes a long time to learn the game.
Nothing else to add?
No, look, look, like I say, it takes a long time to learn the game.
Can you give me your thoughts on the Olympics at the minute, Eddie? There's been a lot of controversy. There's also been controversy in judging. There's been controversy on, you know, genders of opponents. Just what's your thoughts on this at the moment?
My thoughts are that the Olympics is very important to the world and ecosystem of boxing. Amateur boxing is very, very important in many different respects. I hope that boxing stays in the Olympics. Bad judging happens in all forms of boxing and all forms of sport, where decisions are opinions. The gender stuff is another complete separate conversation. I've already, given my thoughts about boxing and that issue, and my thought remains is if you are born a man, you should not be competing against women. Call me old fat. That's my honest opinion. In boxing, in a sport where a physical advantage leads to victory and also leads to potential damage of your opponent. What else did you ask me? Britain, they've had a terrible Olympics. Lewis Richardson won today. That's great. Hopefully he can go on and win a medal. But
are you going to be at the Olympics?
Yeah, be a one today. She fights Kelly Harrington on Saturday, which is a massive fight. Like, Kelly Harrington is just a sensational fighter, and so is Bea. I wish that was over 10 rounds on one of my shows. Maybe it will be in the future, but if Bea wins on Saturday, I'll be flying to Paris to watch her in the final on Tuesday.
That's my last question, right? I asked Ben Shalom. He said that he'd be open to making Caroline Dubois and Beatrice Ferreira. He said there's been no conversations, but he would like there to be conversations about that.
What do you mean there's been no conversation? It was ordered. And they pulled
He said actually it was Rhiannon Dixon ordered, and then he never heard anything else about it, was his response.
That's total bollocks. And they know very well. I've got the receipts and the paperwork. They received emails from the IBF to say that Caroline Dubois has been ordered to fight Beatrice Ferreira for the vacant title. And it was one of the biggest swerves in the history of female boxing. I don't blame them, by the way. Caroline's a brilliant fighter, and in time, I'm sure that fight will get made. By the way, Beatrice Ferreira can make featherweight. She's really a super featherweight, but she rocked up to win a world title at lightweight because that's what we do. And she could be the first person to be a world champion and an Olympic champion at the same time if she wins gold on Tuesday. So.
Eddie, you're on smoke. You need to sing me out to something, or you need to rap me out.
Don't really know any rap.
Eminem, surely, come on.
No, because we've got this at the moment, so...
He's bottled it. Can't believe it. The new Prime Minister of Great Britain has just
I
bottled
just
it.
feel that now, if I'm going to run for Prime Minister, we can't be doing any of our silly stuff anymore. So no more dental hygienist jokes, please. Thank you.
Okay, cheers, Ed. Thank you.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.